Hi everybody, Russell Markham here from VectorVest. The big question, are the blue chips on the ASX in bubble territory? You might have seen a few articles in recent times in the Fin Review and other such publications. A few people are noting that perhaps the blue chips are in a bubble. Are they? Let's investigate. Before we get going today, let's just move myself out the way. Please note our license numbers there. In addition, general advice only. I'm only licensed to give you general advice. I cannot give you personal financial advice. Please speak with your financial advisor for personal advice. As always, past performance is no guarantee of future results. Let's jump out of here. So what I'm going to do here straight away, in VectorVest, in our viewers tab, we have this very powerful watch list here, S&P ASX. And I'm going to look at the top 50. So the big blue chips, the top 50, this is the biggest companies in Australia. Look at the turnover on some of these companies here. Millions and millions of dollars turning over a day. And so here's the top 50. So to answer the question, are we in a bubble? Well, the first thing I want to look at, if I right click and view the watch list average here. And so what we've got here in VectorVest, let's just go with this to begin with. Nice and easy to begin with. This is the average on the ASX 50, the current ASX 50. If I pull it back a little bit over time, you can see how it's performed. So you can see it's held up relatively well. You know, a bit of a dip there leading into the US elections, and of course, quite a nasty sell down during COVID, but on average, it's gone up pretty well. I'm going to put on another indicator here. So that's the average of all those stocks. And I'll just make this jump out a bit. You can see I've got a line in here where I've drawn in the past. This is where earnings were falling away during COVID, and the average across the ASX 50 fell as a result. But look what's happened since. Earnings picked up and up go the average across the ASX 50. So the earnings is very important. Very, very important, because if average earnings are falling, then you expect the blue chips to come under pressure. So you can see over here during this time period here, let's zoom it in a tad here. You can see earnings were faltering, and the ASX 50 did fall away a bit, but funnily enough, despite earnings sort of falling, prices went up on average. You can see on average the earnings were falling, yet price went up. Yes, there were periods of time where the price fell, so they held up remarkably well even back in 2013. But just be careful, because when you zoom it out a bit further, falling earnings on average, so here the earnings were falling, and if I bring this in here, falling earnings, falling share prices, and then you'll see on average rising earnings, as we see here, and we see over here, rising earnings, rising share prices on average. Okay, so we want to keep our eyes peeled on the earnings. All right, so just make sure that the earnings are stacking up. Here they are. And so earnings are going up and the share price is going up on average. So right now, let's just remove the lines here, clear all drawings. I'm not seeing any signs of earnings falling away. Now, here where the big 50 companies fell away, this was during COVID, yes, and there was a little bit of a dip in the earnings as well, and then earnings started to pick up and up goes the share price again. How do we avoid, an area here where the price starts to fall away? How could we have avoided this fall away? Forget earnings, just for now, how could we have avoided this altogether? And so what we do at VectorVest is we have some powerful market timing signals. And our most conservative timing signal is the confirmed signal. And it looks at when the market on average is going up versus when it's going down. And you'll see over here our most conservative signal. Let's zoom it in just a tad. Our confirmed signal. We noted to our subscribers to be careful. Now this took place on the 2nd of March 2020. And so the average on the ASX 50 per the current ASX 50, but going back in time, was $33, and it fell all the way down to 25. So you could have avoided all of that falling on average across the big companies. All right, so we kept you on the right side of the market. This is a very conservative signal, a slightly more aggressive one, which would prove a very good exit point at that point. Look at that, it pretty much pinpoint at the exit point right there. So look, be careful at that point. And so you could have avoided about 95% of the market sell down during COVID. All right, so coming back to current times here, where are we in the terms of the current cycle? Here, our DEW signal kicked up. The down signal kicked in, and no sooner had it kicked in, it reverted back up again. So far, so good. That's the DEW. A slightly more aggressive signal. And again, for the purposes of today's short presentation, I'm not going to get into the exact definitions of all the timing. I'm just want to instead to show you just how it works. And here, our most conservative timing signal, it hasn't faltered yet. So we're still in an upward trending market on average. So market timing is still holding up on average, which means that the ASX 50 on average should hold up. But just be mindful that we have had a signal kick down. All right, so we did have a signal kick down, and then it's whipsawed back up again. When this happens in quick succession, it does put us on alert. We just need to look more carefully. All right, so we've just had a little bit of an early warning. Time will tell, but right now, the overall timing of the market is holding up. This has got nothing to do with the ASX 50. All right, so just to confirm, if I go here to the VectorVest system, I'm going to go to graphs. Here's our market timing. Let's just make it nice and clean and simple to look at. Here is our most conservative signal, the confirmed down, kept you on the right side of the market. This is looking at all the stocks on average. Here, the average of all the stocks that we track. Here is a turning point. So we can see on average, the market's still going up, which is good to see. All right, coming back to our blue chips, let's look at the average watch list on those blue chip 50s, top 50. So here is our conservative signal. The market on average is still going up. We have seen a little bit of weakness creeping in, so we just need to be mindful of that. Okay, we're seeing just a little bit of weakness creeping in. Now, it's not to say that the blue chips are going to crash. Certainly not, because remember, the blue chips, we've got 50 stocks, so we're being pulled down by the bottom 50. And so what we do at VectorVest is we rank and sort. The best fundamentals and technicals are at the top of the list, and the worst are at the bottom of the list. So we can see the bottom ones here. For us to graph, these ones are under pressure. JHX, Woodside, APA. Well, it's actually going up, but the combinations of fundamentals and technicals, these are the weaker ones. And certainly here, Sonic Healthcare, look at that, big sell down here. Same with WiseTech. All right, so we just need to be mindful of the ones dragging us down at the bottom of the list. And so what I'll do here, for the final thing here that I'm going to do here, let's make a copy. I'm going to take the ASX 50 as of 9 September, and I'm going to sort it by our best combination of fundamentals and technicals. So I'm going to just simply keep the top 10. Let's count them out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These top 10 have our best combinations of fundamentals and technicals. Don't get overly concerned with all the other indicators. There's some wonderful indicators in VectorVest, but we don't have the time to show you all this for the short presentation, so I'm going to keep it nice and simple. Here's the company. Here's what it's trading a day. Here's the price. And you'll have to take it from me that it's got the best combinations of fundamentals and technicals. Let's look at the average now across those top 10 as tracked by VectorVest. Very different story now. Look at that. Here's the confirmed signal, our most conservative timing signal. Yep, the market's holding up. Slightly more aggressive signal, the DEW signal. There we go. So use market timing in combination with the best combinations of fundamentals and technicals. So certainly the top 10 as ranked and sorted by VectorVest, they look incredibly robust to me. And so no sign of that blue chip bubble popping anytime soon. Here are the earnings across those top 10. And so the other secret there to making money in the markets here with VectorVest, pick on your best combinations of fundamentals and technicals. Line it up with market timing, and then you stand a very good chance of making good money in the market. And so there we go. There are the top 10 per the ASX 50 as sorted by VectorVest, the power of the VectorVest system. Here it all is. So I'm not seeing any sign of a blue chip sell down just yet. Hope you got a lot out of the short presentation. Until next time, bye for now.